Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today we're talking about a dyno competition.
Flog Fest 2020.
Northwest Dyno Circuit.
If you have a dyno in your shop, it's a dyno competition like every other night.
Pretty much every time a truck goes on
It's
there.
not as exciting to go to events other than when they have cash prizes and you go planning on a clean sweep.
The clean sweep.
We set out with a mission, Myer. What was the mission?
To try to win every eligible event we could.
This was Josh's idea, let's be honest. Josh had the idea. He's like,
Josh and Myer are like, we need to cover every class and win.
They wanted to win every class, which sounds fun on its face. Like, oh yeah, it's a cool idea. Let's go do it. So
We had 6 classes that we could technically win. We had stock dodge, small single, large single, small twin, big twin, and unlimited.
So we went down. The Northwest Dyno Circuit came to St. George, Utah, about 40 minutes south of us.
There's Flog Industries.
Flog Industries that make bumpers and things like that. And
they call themselves Flog Fest.
That's the event, Flog Fest.
So you dyno your truck, you flog it. That's the idea, the fun play on words.
Yeah.
We start the day, we get there, and again, I was on time.
He was on time. I told Eric, I was like, I'm going to be there at the shop. I'll pick you up at 8 o'clock. But I was like, no. And I told him, I was like, wait, I'm always late, 8:30. Well, at 9 o'clock, I come rolling in. And, well, we made it. We had some stuff to do. But we got it together. Luckily, the dyno didn't even start till like 10.
So we go down to compete. And Myer and Josh, like I said, have this great plan on how to sweep all the classes that we're going to enter. It requires Myer and Josh doing a bunch of work that I'm not willing to do.
A bunch of turbo swapping in the pits is what it required.
Dyno started at 10. I was 4th in line. You were 1st in line. We were able to get those runs in. And then we just started swapping.
Yeah, so I went on the dyno with the triples. I did 1563 fuel only. There's also a spot here.
So Josh completed in 2 classes, right? He had the big compounds with his triple turbos, and then he also did big single with an 88 millimeter. Was it the aggressor?
It was the aggressor he had on
the aggressor he took there?
Which I was happy with. I figured that was a pretty safe
Fuel only number, that's a good number.
Yeah, I figured I was safe there. So did the one run, pulled it off, popped my hood, started letting it cool off. And my family actually came to this one, so I got to hang out with my wife and kids. And then you did the small single.
I drove it down with the small single because I fabbed that setup a couple days prior, so I can even put it on the truck. And so I ran that class.
And what did Myer do?
Myer did small compounds, which some people say he cheated because his whole set is slightly bigger than 80, but he bushes it down to 80 millimeters, so it's legal.
Yeah.
It's kind of like sled pulling. Sometimes if there's a inducer limit, they build these cheater turbos that have a smaller inducer.
And one thing I will say that kind of feels kind of cool in the moment is everyone, like, you're allowed 3 runs. Mm-hmm. Like, it's pretty common knowledge that once you heat soak the motor, it's not going to make as much power. So you hit it hard the first time, and that's all you need to do. You're not going to make any more power the second time unless you did something wrong the first time. So all of our runs, we were one and done. Like, no. Oh
no.
Well, your highest power was still the first.
So Myer does 975.
I did 950, something like that.
So you do yours, you pull off dyno, and now we're swapping.
Which was a class record.
Yes.
By I want to say around 100 horse.
Yeah, so-
Pretty impressed with that number. So I was
And
pretty
then-
happy.
And then he did small single
Yeah.
and stock dodge.
And so it went off without a hitch. I mean, honestly, it went great.
I pulled the triples off. I put the Aggressor 88 on for the large single. Myer pulls the single off, and what did you go? You went
I
stock
went to
dodge?
stock dodge. So we went to just put HE351 cast compressor wheel, OEM. Like that was the old compressor wheel from when the Junker had that turbo on there. I had nicks in it. Just sent it.
How much horsepower did it make?
We did 679.3 horsepower.
Was that a class record, dude?
It wasn't. Somebody did 10 more horsepower. And I don't want to be that guy that calls out a cheater, but like, how do you do more than that on a stock?
Yeah.
Like correction factor, billet wheel, I have no idea.
So
No, but it's
you get the stock dodge done,
crazy.
and then you pull it back into the pit,
I pull it back into the pit.
and then I go up for my large single, and it's fuel only. I think the number to beat was 600 horse, 653 or something like that. So I put it on the dyno. I forgot to shut the wastegate like a rookie, so
That's what happened.
the wastegate's screaming. It did like 1154, and I was like, oh god, that's a terrible number. And I was like, all right, I'll try it one more time. So I shut the wastegate. It did 1160 something.
So you did make more power.
I made more power on a heat-soaked run, and then I got frustrated, and I was like, I'm gonna try it one more time. And I had Elmer turn up the load even more, and it did like 1055, and it's just like huffing. The truck's hot, and I was just like, well, pride got the best of me on that one, but I pulled my truck off. And then you went up for small twin, right?
Small twin, which if you've ever installed compounds, like I will say that was a pretty impressive feat. The boss did come in clutch. He had a soccer game or something to go to, so he came down a bit later. I texted him saying, hey, I forgot 2 clamps. He grabbed them on his way down. That was coming in clutch there. And then otherwise we remembered everything we needed, all the tools. Like we got them swapped over in like less than 2 hours, which is pretty good.
And not to mention, just so everybody on YouTube knows, Myer had 3 downpipes.
Two downpipes. I machined that small single. I machined it to an
Oh,
HE351.
I was just impressed that Myer was able to do that. And he did a T4 charger on a T3 manifold with a T3 T4 adapter.
I can attest to the fact that a BD Performance T3 to T4 adapter is good for 560 some horse.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a trifecta for Myer. 3 out of 3
That guy
win. Josh, 2 out of 2 win. You entered unlimited.
One win.
Win. I entered big compounds and I got second place, unfortunately.
And then
We're good. It's fine.
we watched Will go up. Now, Will
Okay, now this is fun.
Will decided to be a wild card. All of us had purposely went out of our way to not overlap. We didn't want to compete against each other, but
Yeah.
that was not stopping
I was not going to
the
stop
Will.
So my whole goal was to beat Josh.
So Will has a
Will Terry has the 12 millimeter 215 pump that could.
I was still running a 12 millimeter pump. So I set a world chassis dyno record in Utah for the Northwest Dyno Circuit for a 12 millimeter P pump.
One of those great records.
If you guys have ever seen somebody make over 1,466 horsepower to the tire on a chassis dyno with a 12 mil P pump, post about it. We want to hear, because that's what the junker did, and that's a big number for a
12 mil pump,
12
that's
millimeter
huge.
pump.
And so this guy drives down early in the morning, like he gets there, and then waits like 4 hours till the heat of the day to get as much correction factor as possible, because he's fuel limited. You know, if you're air limited, correction factor, whatever. But if you're fuel limited, correction factor goes straight into the dyno graph. So he tried. He really did. He got a good number out of it. He got what, 14.
I beat Will by 97 horsepower.
If I'm going to get every bit of fuel out of this pump, I need to make power as low as possible, which is dangerous for torque, and it's hard to do with big turbos, and I have big turbos now. So I come up with this bright idea. I'm going to start my run in third and grab overdrive mid-pole. Now, per the rules of the dyno circuit, you cannot do that if it spikes on the shift and makes more power than you do in the peak of the run. So my goal was to shift it before I was at peak power, so the shift spike would not be higher than peak, and it would be a legit run. And I did it, and I pulled it off, and Josh about lost his mind because he thought I had just cheated and beat him. And he was relieved at the 1466, but he's also nervous knowing I'm on a 12 mil pump.
Yeah.
I'm only 100 horse behind him, and let's be honest, I'm only at like 145 pounds of boost. I mean, I've got,
rookie numbers.
we know the power-driven boots will handle 200.
That was on our boots, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was
That's
great.
insane. 145 on those 5-ply airman boots.
I will say too, he also
Shift spiked.
he shift spiked. So the problem with the 12 valve and like a large turbo setup like that is trying to get spooled on the dyno to make a good number. A lot of time you'll see less boost on the dyno than you see on the street because you're not loading it hard enough. Well, what does Will do? He starts the run in third, gets it spooled up that nice high RPM, shifts it so it drops the RPM down, gets a good torque number, gets a good power number, but it's fully spooled down there in the low RPMs so he can just run it through the window. And, well, I think it did help his run considerably. I bet it made a bit more power because of that, just because how he loaded it. It's not cheating. As long as you're not making your peak power at the shift spike, it's fine. As long as you make more power after the shift, it's considered fair game.
Basically, he pulled every card he could and still lost.
Yeah. On a 12 mil pump, though, I'm still impressed with that setup.
Allegedly.
I said that's a pretty respectable number for a 12 mil.
So I showed up to St. George about halfway through the day. I had some stuff I had to do in the morning, and I get to unload the truck and ready to go.
And you have the timing down to make it start easy.
Which it starts great. I mean, I didn't even need an ether. It just started right up.
After Will went, we got good times on the dyno. Todd got his fire suit on. Shout out to the Northwest Dyno Circuit. They got all their employees fire jackets. And then all of the PDD employees got put on fire extinguisher duty. So we were a lot more safe this time.
We get it set up, and I asked for 25% load, and he says, all right, just let me get you set up and give me a thumbs up when you want to go, and then I'll say go, and then you can do your run. So I said, okay. So I start my run about 4,000 RPM. So I'm actually starting my run above where most Cummins will make peak power. And I get going and I say go, and the load comes on, I feel it, so I mash it and I pull it up the run, and I'm watching the RPM, and I just stay in it until 5,800 RPM on my data logger, and it just was really a good, nice, wide power band.
got any more in it, dude.
Is that full fuel?
I think it was. You can stop it and turn data log on, but I think we're done.
Todd's truck did like 2188.
Yeah,
and
before it cracked the head and just
started spewing oil out. Yeah, the head looks like it was cracked. Apparently it was cracked beforehand.
It was a
I was
little bit, but
not aware of that. But
just dealing with water.
so Todd won the unlimited class.
That was my run for the day. It was enough to win the day. It wasn't anything to write home. I mean, it's a weird time we live in where a 2,200 horsepower run is like 2,200, you know. But when it's quite a bit lower than you expect, that's how you feel.
Todd won the unlimited class by like 1,100 horsepower. I won the big compounds by 97 against Will, and then almost 700 against the other guy. Mm-hmm. And then I won the large single by 640 horse-ish.
So anyway, Myer did great. He won all his classes. Josh did great. And then they had the award ceremony where they call you up to win. And that's where we started feeling a little bit bad. I guess some guys came and were giving Josh and Myer a little bit of a hard time, saying it's not fair for you to like compete in all these classes, which I think is just stupid. I mean, I'm sorry, guys. If a guy is competing within the rules, it doesn't matter if he does multiple classes. Bring something to win your class. That's it. I mean,
look at all the opportunity there was. They had a truck that had to be a transformer for 2 or 3 classes,
and they did it.
And all you had to do was tune your truck for one turbo size to surpass them.
To beat them.
They're not the owners of Power Driven. It's not like Todd and I went there and shoot, I didn't even win. I mean, no guys beat me.
I went in one class ultimate, so that was all Josh and Myer, and they used their trucks. They made the money. They put the work in, and they were not cheating. They were within the classes. So if you have any beef with them, dude, you're crazy.
Myer was covered in grease, had to tell me that guy just worked. Everybody else,
he earned it.
Hung around, hung out with their buddies, took pictures in front of their painted up fancy trucks.
And he's over there working.
And he's over there like buried in grease, just getting it done.
So congrats to him. So 3 times I call out Myer Stump. He walks up, gets money.
Call it the trifecta.
Walks up, gets money. Walks up, gets money. Josh walks up, gets money. Walks up, gets money. I mean,
winning 679. This is turbo. For those of you that don't know anything about what we're talking about, we're referring to turbos here.
I would have won either way.
So the small single, we have Myer Stump at 953, making 400. Was that 4? All right, another. Large single, we have Josh McCormack at 1156. Another 400 there. These next 2 classes win 600. We have small twin, we have Myer Stump at 1063. Big twin, we have Josh McCormack at 1563.
Party in Cedar City, huh? Hey, there's street races tonight in Cedar. We'll take that.
The next class is the unlimited class, making $1,000. We have Todd Welch at 2181. Let's give Todd a big round of applause.
Beers are on you, my friend.
Hell yes. Thank you very much for participating in the dyno competition this year and for showing up. Next up, we have the Burnouts.
There's a burnout contest,
Yeah.
and we verify that there is in fact a trophy.
Yeah.
Now, the burnout contest, we weren't sure how much sauce was going to be brought, but I was like, hey, Myer, let's do the burnout contest. And he's like, all right, let's do it.
I am the shop burnout king.
You are.
It's undisputed. I've been doing burnouts longer. Before these guys were even like out of high school, I was doing burnouts. My truck recently got upgraded or downgraded, however you look at it, with electric fans. They're great for cooling off when the truck's off. They are terrible for keeping your truck cool in a burnout contest.
or towing.
I have this new engine that's running great. I want to go drag race my truck. I don't want to burn up my truck for $750 cash prize and a nice trophy. It's a beautiful trophy. I would have loved to win, but it wasn't, to me, worth the damage to my truck.
Yeah.
And it's not even, it's the work, you put a lot of work putting an engine and building the wastegate and turbo. It just wasn't worth it to me. And I told Myer and Josh, I was like, this is your event.
So we registered last minute, and they were like, all right, we're going to save you guys for last. And I go up to them, and I go up to Myer, and I was like, Myer, would you be down to hook our trucks together and do burnouts the opposite way?
So Josh and Myer have a great idea. Like, well, I don't want to break one truck. Let's break two.
So we ratchet strap them together. Now, neither one of us have hitches anymore. So we came up with this triangulation
Just
off
went
shock
to the
mounts.
axles, yeah.
Yeah. And we start our burnout.
Chop it in half.
$750 right
Appreciate
there.
it.
So
All right, you keep that. I'll take it.
Hey, no! I need tires.
I was well past 120 mile an hour. I mean, that's all my speedo says.
Yeah, so I'm just calculating mine. So at 5,000 RPM in overdrive locked, we're both right there in like 140, 150 mile an hour.
Myer's truck completely disappeared. I mean, I'm in the stand watching it. I'm like, I cannot see Myer's truck at all.
Like, you don't even know
It's
if he's
gone.
passed out in there from smoke. He didn't have a gas mask.
No.
Rookie mistake, by the way.
Rookie mistake.
So the Flog guys are like, come here, come here. They're like, you guys won by like forever. So they hand Myer the trophy. I take the cash, which I thought was a pretty fair split.
That was not a fair split.
No, we did split the
Yeah,
money.
we split it. They gave you both, and you split it both, and you say, hey, you take the trophy. So then I was like, hey, I'm not done. I want to burn these off. I want to pop these tires. And so I got back in, and we just roasted them. Like, we were going at 150 mile an hour. And then I was watching my coolant temps. They were getting warm. And then all of a sudden, the temps just start going up like crazy, like 150, 160. And then like, I was like, okay, I'm sorry, not 150, 250, 260. And I was like, okay, something's wrong. I stopped the burnout. Everybody's like, why just stop? And you can't see anything because it's all smoked out. And once it kind of clears, it's
There's
just billowing,
dripping.
coolant everywhere, billowing smoke. It smells like coolant. It was bad. So I was like, oh, dude, hope I didn't like just overheat and burn up this engine. And you know when you get a truck really hot, you let off the throttle and it like almost dies and then it catches itself and like does this really lopey idle. It was doing that, and I was like the whole time I was just like 10,500 pissed in the wall. Like, come on, guys, I put all 10 of you in there for a reason. And it survived. Turned out it just blew. It cracked a cooler heater core fitting. I had a little plastic 90 you get at like Napa. I thought it would be rated for the temperature and the heat and the pressure, and nope, it wasn't. So we ended up throwing a brass one in there instead. But yeah, the engine's fine. Daily did
Shout out to our local plumbing supply company for coming in clutch with that one.
Yep. So it was like, truck runs great still, like no problems there. I was kind of like, I wasn't worried about my bedside like Josh is. Not worried about my bedside. Wasn't worried about, like, if I had melted down the engine.
You didn't have to worry either. Your tires were inside your fender wells. Mine kind of have a little, we call it Utah stance, because in Utah, that's like a very quick ticket to get pulled over for. So I have like 20 by 10s, but my back tires were pretty much fresh. They were destroyed. The detail shop has to get that off. I'm not looking forward to that bill, but we took home a trophy.
We did.
We did.
I was worth it.
We were the only ones
Yeah.
that took home a trophy.
All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoy this. I hope you enjoy Myer and Josh's take on this. It's always
I'm
hilarious.
sure they'll be way funnier than us. We're kind of
Yeah,
boring
we're
today.
getting older and lazier. So anyway, thanks, guys.
Thanks.
See you next time.
Hey guys, I'm Josh, pretending like I'm Will. And I'm so dumb I forgot to bring a Dairy Queen last time. Only Myer had it. But now I'm cool.
What's up with the girl voice? He has a deep voice.
When he makes fun of me, his voice gets really high, so I gotta go one higher than him.
That's right, all right.
Hey, Mur.
Hey! He yells a lot, right? I was in the dyno doing about 185 mile an hour, and I won with my 8300 Irpums.
Rippums.
Made all the horse torques.
Did you see me swapping that Wu-Tang war whistle on my truck? That Aggressor 88?
Pretzel.
The Mongolian push rod, the Pyongyang push rod Pretzler.
Pretzler. I can't even say this crap. He comes out of that kid's mouth.
The Nagasaki Noisy Boy.
Yeah.
Wait.
And what?
So guys, the way I hit 1576 horsepower, I turned all the boosts to the head, I shut off the wastegate. Boom. That's how I won.
Let's see.
Wait. My tires were brand new before the Burnout contest, and now they're smooth.
Boom. He falls out of a chair.
Dude, you had Tay-Tay on point when we were swapping those turbos.
That's right.
You'll have that on those big jobs.
Those are the big jobs.